Martin, them scary stories to tell in the dark.
Scary stories.
Yeah, Martin. Don't tell them in the light. Don't tell them in the daytime, Martin. It's most effective in the dark.
They make us who we are. That can be scary.
Eat it, Harold.
I remember some people saying, man, I couldn't even go in and get my DT shirt from DTmerch.com.
Now that's a real trap.
Yeah, I couldn't get my classic black T-shirt with the white logo, man. Still ain't got it back today. Oh, if they had the one with Oz on there, the shirt just might have just busted out. Just broke out. Cool, we got stickers. We got the usual stuff on there, phone covers. Oh, now you're going to show up. Hey, man, how you doing? And now that you are, look at that, you're wearing that logo on your chest right there, proudly. Proud Toasty out there. Did I call you a Toasty just because you got the shirt? Don't mean you got the honor.
What more do you need?
Their money from their donations, Martin, and there's most importantly, their subscription. They were written by this horrifying looking gentleman right here, Alvin Schwartz.
Hi.
Well, today that would be scary.
Well, I mean, if he was a scoutmaster or a priest.
Our priest. Yeah, this is Alvin Schwartz. This is the guy that wrote the book, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Man is dead, actually. He died in 1995. Some people say that he's still writing stories, Martin. Who would have thought that this friendly-looking gentleman right here would scare the shit and traumatize generations of kids with the book, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, right there. And the stories were creepy, but it was those illustrations, man,
that were creepier.
Those illustrations were the ones that really sold it. And you know what? I loved it. And all kids love this. All kids want to be traumatized by this book right here. It was the most popular book when I was in elementary school. There were two books. One was The Hobbit. It was this real colorful illustrated book from the movie.
Yeah.
But then this was the one right here.
Always checked out.
Always checked out, man. And because it was without a doubt the coolest book in the elementary school. No kid was barred from getting it. So if some 7-year-old wanted to get it, because you could tell when like a 7-year-old got it, because they would get it and be happy they got it because all the big kids were reading it. And they come back the next day. Take this shit away from me, please. Can I get some counseling? You felt like you weren't being talked down to.
Right.
This is to get this book. It was like watching the horror movies that you were not allowed to watch because they were rated R, or your parents didn't let you watch them. It was too scary, too gory.
Yeah, they didn't need you having nightmares and climbing in bed with them.
No, they were right there in school, in the library. Now, later generations with this book here, they didn't get the for a while, they didn't get the kind of experience that we had. There were, because that's another thing with this book, man. This book became like a rock star because where it was just something that we felt like was not talking down to us, later on, it was edgy because the book, it was the book too terrifying for kids in some places that it was getting banned.
Parents and teachers in a Seattle suburb will vote next week on a plan to ban 3 books from an elementary school library. Those who want to get rid of the books say they're just too gruesome for young readers.
For little bitch-ass kids. Yeah, if you a little bitch, it is. Just to give you a little history, they took it was in 2011. The publisher took the original photos out, or the original pictures.
Oh, the original illustrations?
The original illustrations by Stephen Gamble. They took the original illustrations out and replaced them with something a little softer. They was yeah. I mean, you know what?
Some bullshit.
And it sucks too. I'm looking at this on Ranker. You should go to this and see how they talk about the story and compare the originals to the new ones. And it's a shame too because
they're not bad illustrations.
Everybody hated those illustrations and they were great pieces of art.
Yeah.
But people said, I don't give a shit. I don't want that.
Yeah, right.
Get that bullshit. We see so much today that it's not left to imagination.
Yeah.
This right here crept into the darkest corners of your mind and stayed there and laid eggs. You know, it's and now they're hoping that they can ruin these kids even more because unlike us, now you get to see these illustrations come to vivid life in the new movie, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. See, we didn't get to see them move. Y'all got that now, and surely that's going to be much scarier than what we ever had. Let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
The jangling man is coming.
So what I'm going to say to you is if you can see I love this book and I adore this book. And if you love this book as much as I do, keep reading the book. Because you're not gonna get this book in this movie.
Okay. Well, I remember you saying that the stories weren't as scary as the illustrations led you to believe.
Well, let me say this, man.
So I was trying to keep that in mind as I watched this movie.
You know, well, you'll get a lot of things in this movie right here. One thing I can say, you're not gonna walk away empty-handed. You know what? You gonna in this movie you're gonna get a lot of things. You gonna get Goosebumps, their version of Goosebumps. You're gonna get Stand By Me. You're gonna get a little hint of Scooby-Doo up in there.
And some other ghost story movies that Guillermo del Toro has made.
Yeah,
produced.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much. You'll see every cliche where people fight an angry spirit that's controlling the small town. When it comes to this book called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, making an appearance in its own movie, they're reduced to none but little cameos, man. Yeah. In fact, I mean, this poor book has to work for that cameo. I mean, people just talking over the characters. The book is just back there. Excuse me, I have something to say. Shut up. But anyway.
Did anybody ask you anything? Just sit down, and when we're ready for you, we will call you.
Sorry.
Jesus. Anyway, so back to cliche theater.
As I was saying, goosebumps, cliche. As far as being a movie that just takes hints from the source material, I'm not saying that can't work. There have been some cases where I've seen it work. Now, it's not coming to mind right now, but I know I have.
Well, you know, you do an adaptation, you're making a movie. So you can't adhere all that closely to
Forrest Gump is nothing like the actual book.
Thank God.
Yeah, that book is not that great anyway. But I'm just saying, they changed it, and they changed it for the better. Only a hint of things are in there from that book. But, so on that level, I'm not saying it can't work. It can. Now, if you don't know the book, or the books, there are some creepy imagery in here. And I tell you, man, they push the PG-13 in here. This is like, and I said it before, I'm gonna say it again. This is like Goosebumps for kids who want little bitches, man. You know, this is for kids. They actually, you know, what Goosebumps is just fun and games. Even the monsters are kind of cute in a way. Oh, look at their wacky hijinks. You know, they're like, we ain't about that funny shit. We ain't about them hijinks. You know, we get out and we trying to kill your ass. That's what we gonna do. You know, if we get a hold of you.
Right.
My favorite, one of my favorite parts of the movie is what you saw in the trailer, the Jangly Man.
First the dog was trying to hang tough, and after a while he's like, no, I don't think so.
The jangling man is coming.
You know, that is a genuinely freaky image.
Yeah.
In the movie, man. But just the way it moves, the way it like creaks and contorts, it's frightening, man. And it's a combination of two stories. This is what they do in the movie with the stories. They aren't retelling the stories. What they're doing is they're the reason why I keep making the Goosebumps comparison is because in the movie they find a book with these folk tales in there, these scary folk tales, and because they were written by some woman named Sarah Bellows, who of course was mistreated in real life, and she decided to go Freddy Krueger on mother. And so she's coming back to, he's like,
I'm getting revenge on, well, just anybody.
Yeah, just, where those motherfuckers at? Oh, they died. Okay, where you at?
Yeah, putting cases on all you bitches.
Yeah, man. So, just they turn to an asshole when they can't get back at the people that they want to get back to. So once the book is open, the stories come true. It turns into this Final Destination thing where if you read certain stories, and all of a sudden you are part of that story. You are the one you are the victim in that tale. But what they do with that is that, so since you're not getting the real stories themselves, they consolidate them for certain segments. The Jangly Man is actually a combination of two stories. One of them is my favorite in there. What Have You Come For? That's the one with the feet dangling from the chimney. The other with the severed head here is called Me Tai Dottie Walker. And this, even though I'd rather watch those stories be told by themselves. I would say that the Jangly Man is so freaky looking that that part works. And I gotta tell you something too, man. He's the one that let you know things were serious. So before you thought they were trying to like get on some goosebumps type thing, and they were trying to be kid friendly. He comes out, he somebody up.
Yes, he does.
He walked up to a dude, and dude deserved it because he should have ran.
Yeah, because he's just standing there going, "What?"
Let me tell you something. You see some shit like that coming to you, you just gonna sit up there and be like, "What the hell?" You're not gonna do that. He one dude up, and that's when I said, "Wow, stakes are high."
Yeah.
In this movie right here. And I gotta tell you, I was thinking, because I thought, man, this is PG-13. He ain't gonna do nothing. God damn! He said, Jangly Man looked at me like, now say something else. You want some too? See, even your boy Harold put in some work, man, over here. The Scarecrow. Even he kind of went hard on somebody.
Yeah, kinda. Not really.
Now, before I go too deep with this, because y'all gonna say, well, you just gonna start complaining because you're a fan of the book. You're being real overprotective and you're nitpicking now. I will say that there are some things in this that I like. I find it interesting that they went for a period piece.
Yeah, 1968.
1968. And they do a lot of political background there. There's always Nixon on the TV and everything. They show you things like old drive-ins when they're showing Night of the Living Dead. Great Halloween atmosphere with the small town that they have here. And doing that, I guess it makes things, at least for what they were trying to do, hopefully makes things a little more scary because you're not distracted by modern technology like cell phones. Well, why don't you just call somebody? Not distracted by social media.
Yeah, but
things technology that makes the supernatural less scary today.
Yes.
They making a period piece here. I like it, and plus, like I said, period pieces. When they do that, it's just an artistic thing that I like too.
I tend to like it.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I thought it didn't really serve that much of a purpose other than to give them something to do with costumes.
Even though I'm praising this for its feel, its atmosphere, I'm talking about the Jangly Man was badass and all that kind of stuff. Man, this still mostly feels like every video game and every comic book that when they were adapted to a movie, they missed the point.
Yeah.
And I tell you, because I look at this and I'm thinking, this was like I'm playing Catwoman right here. The movie Catwoman, the Halle Berry one. You missed the point and didn't have enough material for a whole movie, so you just made up a bunch of stuff to fill space around that. Meanwhile, the real source material is either unrecognizable or plays a very small part of its own movie. And when they do that, they end up filling it up. When we talking about fill it, they end up filling it up with overused plots and overused character types.
Oh yeah. I can't speak to how well it does an adaptation of the book, but I know for me watching this, I was like, man, because I hear that horror fans will like this, and I was like, man, I guess, like I said, horror fans just don't ask for much because this is just, it's so warmed over and not fresh and just regurgitated ideas.
Yeah.
And yes, this reminded me a lot of Goosebumps. And you know what? One of the absolute biggest problems with this movie, besides the writing being so bad in it, is that except for the girl, these actors are awful.
Man.
Especially all the boy actors are terrible. I mean, there's one kid who's not bad, but his character's annoying. But these other guys, like the Hispanic kid, what's his name? I know it's not.
So
David
I'll
Marquez,
tell you who these characters are.
but
You
he's
know,
the worst.
You have Zoe Margaret, who is the kid. Austin Abrams is the bully guy. You're not seeing the sister, but there's another girl, Natalie Gonzorn, that's in there. Gabriel Rush, who was in Moonlight Kingdom. And Michael Garza is the Hispanic kid. And Austin Zajer. Let me tell you about these characters here. Everyone, in the first 5 minutes. In the first 5 minutes, we just open an old stale box of stereotypes.
Yeah.
I mean, we just lay them out on the table right there. Because in the first 5 minutes, we already got, and they just want you to know who they are immediately. We got the outcast girl, the goofy sidekick, the nerd, the jock bully, the bitchy popular chick. Now,
Who's the big sister, one of the nerd kids.
who's the big sister, one of the nerd kids, and is dating the jock. We've seen all this before. Now we do have the Mexican.
Yeah.
He's got kind of an interesting story, I would say, but they'd go out of their way to make some racist statement. It's one of the kids is calling him a wetback. All the time, Nixon is playing in the background. I'm like, damn, and y'all, it's not enough that y'all got all these cliches in here, and you reducing this to just a mere appearance every now and then, but now you got to get political. They putting all this Nixon shit in there just because we got this thing going on with Trump right now.
Yeah,
Also,
I wondered about that.
the Mexican kid.
Yeah.
They're just trying to make some shit about immigration and aggression towards Mexicans. Come on, man. See, this is the kind of shit I say. Y'all know how I feel about these things. You get mad at me when I talk about when they just pander to women in movies. Now I'm looking at where they're pandering to politics and liberals. I'm like, look, I admire your message.
Yeah, I'm on your side, but don't do this.
I appreciate your sentiment here, but get on with the movie.
Right.
I ain't here to watch politics. I'm here to watch goddamn scary stories to tell in the dark. And I ain't even getting that in this bullshit. I don't dislike the actors as much as you do. Like I'm saying, it's stereotypes, man. I don't even mind stereotypes, but they don't have too much to do. They don't have compelling stories. So I don't think that their performances were that good.
Well,
They didn't bother me, at least. I'm not saying it bothered me, but I see what you're saying. I just felt like these characters didn't have a lot to do.
a lot of the characters they are cliche, but David Garza's character, he does have something interesting. It's mysterious, and when you find out what it is, okay, this is something interesting they don't put in here. But no, that actor is really, really bad. Like we spent the whole time, every time he got on and said a line, we either rolling our eyes or looking at each other laughing. And there was even a scene where all he had to do, he didn't even have a line. All he had to do was look, and that was unconvincing.
Performances didn't bother me as much as they bother you. I know I ain't trying to argue with. I'm just saying you say it's the acting. I just don't think that these characters had a lot to do. And then when you don't give them a lot to do, then you get kind of weak performances from people, or you get weak storylines.
But the girl, the main character, I thought she was very good.
Yeah, I thought that she was.
I was like, she deserves better material than this. But she was really carrying the movie.
Well, because they gave her things again that distracted from the film, trying to have some wink at a budding romance between these two.
I know.
Which we don't need here.
We don't need that, and there's a whole backstory with her that they
being abandoned.
Abandoned, but by her mom. But it gets a kind of a mention, but they don't really tell you what it was.
These are they're simple, they're short, but somehow they're very fun on their own if you tell them in their purity. And we don't have that. We have everything but that. We're putting all these cliched subplots in here, taken away from genuinely entertaining stuff. These enthralled kids as when they would read this book. They captured their imaginations. I don't feel like this movie is doing this. I feel like this movie just it felt like they had the property and they had to hurry up and make a movie before they lost it or something. And so they just, again, like I said, they just had to fill in something because, I get it. It's hard. It's hard to do this book because anthologies are not going to do well in the theater. There's a way you could have done this, and I'm going to tell you, if it's not going to do well in the theater and you're just taking pieces of this, it just, it feels like you have a completely different movie. You have a completely different movie that was forced to mention this every now and then. Like the movie didn't even want to talk about this book.
I mean, just your enthusiasm about that book and look at the illustrations, it has me very interested in reading it. Even now. But this movie felt like a package.
Yeah,
It was already packaged up, and they just needed to plug in some names and take a couple of things out of the book, so they could legally call it that.
There's a story in here called The Dream, and they have an illustration to go with that, and they took that illustration and they put it in you probably saw in the trailer. They put it in the movie, and they just chose that because it looks cool. When they chose that, when they chose that character from the book, from that illustration, it had nothing to do with the story in the book. They didn't even know what to do with it in the film. That thing is just walking and just giggling.
It did seem like they didn't know what to do, but I gotta say, when it played out, that was one of the few times the movie creeped me out.
Really? Because I was annoyed. I was just like, because in the movie, even when they just change physics whenever they need to in the movie and everything.
Yeah.
And when that thing does capture somebody, he's even looking like, what the f you want me to do now? I guess I could tickle him or something.
I'm very curious as to what it does in the book.
So this is something that chases somebody down in the movie.
Yeah.
Now in the book,
super slowly.
yeah, walks super slow until it can teleport all over the place, call our twin sister and shit. But it's called The Dream. Woman has a dream where another woman, I guess that's supposed to be the other woman that comes up and says, hey, get out of this house. This house is haunted, it's crazy or whatever, it's evil, leave. A woman wakes up, and I think either she wakes up and runs away and takes cover in a house somewhere and finds out. The end of the story is like wherever she runs to, the end of the story is she's in the same house that she had the dream about. Oh. That's
okay,
it.
Okay.
Had nothing to do.
Yeah, it sure didn't.
That had nothing to fucking do with the movie at all.
It's funny because it sounds like with this movie, the plot, quote unquote, kept getting in the way.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. What they have here is distracting from whatever made this as legendary as it is. Even as much as I love the Jangly Man, the story that came from is a very atmospheric and eerie story, man. It depends on being isolated, alone, in a quiet area. They turned this motherfucker into a goddamn Terminator 2 car chase. I'm like, that goes. I was like, this is all over the place. And furthermore, having it be PG-13 kind of takes away from the impact of the actual stories. That story with Harold,
yeah,
they in that in kind of a gruesome way. Even though kids are reading this, it's way more gruesome than what it was in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's. I mean, on a kid's level, but still, it's like, damn, that was harsh.
Okay.
Yeah,
because it's weird with that because the Herald is the first one, and there was a moment when I thought, oh, that's gruesome. It's worse than showing blood, but then it drags out, and you're like, all right, well, this is kind of nothing.
Yeah.
Actually.
At the end of that story, very simple, very straightforward. They mention one thing, and you're like, damn. Damn, Harold, you didn't have to do him like that. I will say one of the things I thought was effective. I thought the spider story, the red spot, the big red spot. I thought that was kind of effective in the movie.
It is, and at the same time, it's dragged out and so telegraphed. There's so much time spent building it where like you see it, you know it's coming, you know what it's going to be. That's what I'm talking about. Like you get your horror fans around and like, oh yeah, he's going to do the spider thing. Oh, it's coming. Oh, look how he did it. And it's like, oh, yeah, I know you guys admire it. We can all admire it, but it's not scary when you do that.
Yeah. Well, that's why I thought like adding more backstory to this is something where you begin again to change it for the worse. Mystery needs to be there for some of these things to be effective. Well, they pretty much they took the and I'm gonna tell you, man, everybody. You almost ask any kid what was the illustration that scared you the most and made you want to get this book? It was so horrifying that you had to have it. It was that bitch right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
The haunted
I see
house.
that.
Yeah, that is the one that horrified every kid. That's the one, like, a lot of these stories gave kids nightmare, but she was the one that was the most consistent.
Is that the one with the toe?
No.
Okay.
No. This is the one with the Sarah Bellow story. They make her a character with the backstory. Like she's the big villain in the movie.
For years, the people in this town told lies about me. Now, they will get the monster they all deserve.
You know, we didn't need all that backstory. That wasn't even the story right there.
Yeah,
the
she's
story.
not nearly as scary as that illustration.
Nope. And that's what they tried to model it after. You know, and the story is very simple. The story is very straightforward. And here now she's the goddamn Thanos of the Scary Stories universe or something. You know, it's it's just her story is so muddled. I didn't even know what was happening near the end.
Yeah.
With that. And also, it's another one of these movies where when there's some supernatural shit going on, let me see if I can find a frame of it right here. It's another one of these films where, all the kids are trying to figure out what the hell is going on. We need answers. The police don't want to believe us. All that kind of crazy shit. Whenever there's something supernatural going on in these movies, kids or the heroes get together and like, well, no one can explain any of this for us. We have to find an old blind black woman, old mystical Negro black woman.
Okay, I thought that was her.
Yeah, Lorraine Toussaint from Orange is the New Black. But yeah, all these movies got to have they got to have a gypsy or a magical mystical Negro to explain the supernatural that's happening in there. Lulu, even got that old black woman named Lulu. Lulu would tell us. If I wasn't close with this book, and I feel like you, if I wasn't close with this book, how would I feel about this being a movie that never mentioned any of these things? Because it practically is another movie.
Yeah.
And I still think like this is dull.
It's dull.
I've seen all this before.
Yeah. Nothing new. It's all telegraphed, taken from other movies, pieced together. I wouldn't say low effort, but just misguided in places.
Yeah, it's just, seen all this before better, man. And and they're gonna have the nerve at the end of this to just blatantly tell you we setting up for a sequel. Yeah. We stopped the scary stories, but we will continue to fight. And I was like,
fight?
What if this shit?
There's no fight. It's done.
What if this shit turned to Avengers? Come on.
Well, speaking of ending, right before they get to that, the movie ends with something. The fate of one particular character. I'm not going to go into it, but I felt like the movie was trying to say like, but in the end, he did the right thing. And I was like, are you shitting me? what he's doing right now? We all know how that turns out. That is not the right thing.
Yeah, no.
I'm like, where's your, like, with all these politics thrown in, I was like, what is the political agenda of this movie?
Yeah, I don't understand what y'all are trying to do. I told y'all, this is what I was leading up to. I never thought, especially when it comes to beloved anthologies or things that are small, simple stories, we have a model set up for this now. You can't take it to the theater. Go to Netflix or go to some streaming service. We talked about, because I remember somebody said, well, these stories are too small to make into a true anthology movie. I said, well, don't make it into a movie. Do what Netflix did with Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah, it'd be better in that format.
I thought that would have been the best thing. And as I said, man, the movie can be fun in parts. I tell you the parts that I did like. There were parts that I really thought like, man, if you could have expanded upon this would have been cool for, keeping true to the source material or just as a movie. And I know you're going to disagree with me on this, but I did like that guy made me laugh at certain points, Austin Zager.
Yeah,
he had some funny lines.
Yes, what I said. I didn't think he was a bad actor. Every so often he was funny, but he could also be really annoying at times.
Yeah.
So I was on the fence about him.
If you really want the true experience of what these are like, there's a lot of ways to get it. One, you can actually get online and on YouTube and hear the stories being narrated. Now, some of them are narrated better than others, but you are getting the sense of the mood that they're trying to get across in these stories, I think, better than they do in this film.
They felt as if they had escaped a great danger and began joking and singing. They drew straws to see which one would go back. It was Thomas.
It make me nauseous with that frame
I
jump.
know.
Like that. It's like, is nobody gonna fix that?
It was you, Mark. What frame jump? It looks normal to me.
Man, clean your lens, my God.
But little did he know he had glaucoma. Dun, dun, dun. He had bugs in his eyes. You know, there's a documentary out there that actually I think does a better job just telling you about the book, you know, and getting across the true feeling that they were going for.
Part of Alvin Schwartz's brilliance was that he took all these old folk legends and made them readable for kids.
With all that said, just read the books.
I'm always saying that, man. Everybody's like, man, I hope they make this into a movie. It's like, why? Enjoy it in the form it came in.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's not. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they made the movie, and if it's entertaining some people, then hey, it's done its job for them, and it looks like it might be on its way to being a hit. So no, I'm not trying to begrudge this of any success that it'll have at all for the people that enjoy it. But you know, with the books, man, get a flashlight, sit in a dark room by yourself, and freak yourself the out. You know, it's I think you'll be getting a better experience that way. But that's just me. As far as the movie goes, it's just a rental, man.
It's just kind of lame. It's so much of it was, this should have been better. Just not even to respect that source material. Just as a movie itself, it should have been better. So many more P's and Q's should have been watched and I's dotted. But yeah, it's kind of a low rental to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad to hear you say that. A lot of people loving this. Oh, I don't even know if love is the right word. A lot of people are positive about this.
I overheard somebody who didn't read the book say, like, I don't know, saying that he thought it was for a kids movie. He was surprised that it had so many horror tropes in it, or and like in a good way. Where to me, I'm like, yeah, horror tropes. It's like the Lucky Charms of that. But man, if you're a parent who loves horror movies and you're sad and you're bummed out that your kid isn't old enough to watch those yet, here's that gateway drug that you've been waiting to inject into them.
I guess that's why I gave it a rental, because I think it can still be fun to watch. I think it could have been better, but I think it can be a lot more fun, you know. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe, you know, like, damn, Corey, just quit dick riding this book and just just enjoy it. I mean, maybe I am. I don't know, man. You know, me and this book, we tight. We go back. Support us at dtmerch.com. Remember to always stay toasty.